trip.
I first met Lorenzo Madrid when we were in junior high school.
Hey, Larry.
What?
Look at that.
We were pretty much good time boys.
Oh, yeah, she's got your beard.
Hey, shut it.
He was a good guy to hang around with.
Hold on.
The men are based on a tour ship anchored off Guardian Angel Island, 20 miles from the Mexican coast. The east side of the island is popular with fishing tours, but today their local guide, Pepe, is taking them to a remote cove on the more exposed western coast.
It's quiet, it's desolate, you're all alone.
Here she comes. Come on.
It's like fishing nowhere else in the world.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
It's fantastic.
I can't believe it. Look at that, Joe. Try another lure.
Get out of here. You think I don't know what I'm doing?
Well, how many have you caught today?
Nothing.
The detour to the remote side of the island pays off. After a successful day's catch, the two friends are more than happy with their guide, Pepe.
He's a nice kid. He's outgoing, willing to please. Pepe did not speak any English at all.
What'd he say? The bucket's too small, man.
The bucket's too small.
Sí, vamos.
As the sun starts to set, it's time to head back to the tour boat.
Hey, I'm back.
We just sat down and opened the beer and get the ride back to the big boat.
But when Pepe swings south, the boys begin to wonder if they're heading in the right direction. The tour boat was anchored on the northern tip of the island.
Hey, Larry. Should we go?
No, I don't think
the other
so.
way?
Yeah.
This doesn't look familiar to me. Pepe, ¿dónde vas?
So I asked him, isn't the boat back there?
Vamos bien, el Celiagelina se fue para el sur mientras ustedes andaban pescando.
Sí.
And he said, no. While you guys were fishing, the boat passed us. And they went this way.
I didn't say it.
Nah, me neither.
We figured he's a professional, he knows what he's doing, he knows where he's at. And we left it at that.
But after an hour, motoring south along the island's coastline, there's still no sign of the tour boat. And Pepe has more immediate concerns.
Joe. Ya no hay gasolina.
¿Cómo queda la poca gasolina?
He tells us, I think I'm running out of gas.
What's up?
No fuel is what's up.
Oh, it just gets better.
It was a bad situation, it was dangerous.
They have just minutes before the engine cuts out. And without power, Joe knows they can't steer the boat and could easily be swept out to sea by the currents.
I said, let's beach this while you have power.
Pepe, vamos a la playa.
¿Qué playa? Pura roca, no puedo para allá.
Their only hope is to make it to land. But the island's coastline is a fortress of jagged rocks and sheer cliff faces.
He said, there's no beaches. This whole island is rocks.
They know they have no option but to try to reach the shore.
Between the current and the sharks, I'd rather take my chances on land than out in the water.
Vamos.
No me quiero estrellar, no puedo estrellar.
Vamos con ella. A la playa, vamos.
The only thing you can see is the white of the pounding water on the rocks. We were scared.
Their only way to reach land is to power the boat directly into the raging surf. But just as it seems they'll make it safely,
surge of water hit me from behind and forced me into the rocks.
The men make it to shore, but they're now stranded on the island with no way of calling for rescue.
Larry! Hold on there.
You're totally soaked, the wind is blowing, and we started shivering down to the bone.
Bring it back.
The men search for driftwood and build a fire,
Made a fire before.
using up their last few drops of fuel to get it going.
Once we got the fire going, we were able to dry off, and it wasn't all that unbearable anymore.
Not so bad now, Larry.
We knew it should have been an easy thing for the big boat to pick us up the next morning.
It's calls for a beer.
The men resign themselves to a night out in the open, believing their stay on the island will be a short one.
Boat will pick us up in the morning. We out.
They spend the next morning waiting to be collected.
My guess was that we would be picked up no later than noon. All we have to do is just wait, and the boat should be here.
Midday comes, and there's no sign of rescue.
Now it's getting a little bit more serious as the day is wearing on. We need to get out of here.
Mid-afternoon, and Pepe drops a bombshell.
I said, well, I don't think they're gonna pick us up.
The men are washed up on the side of the island that fishing boats never visit. Their tour boat won't look for them here.
They're not gonna come this way. They're not gonna look for us. It's like somebody just pulled the bottom out from under you.
La única manera de salir de aquí es si nosotros hacemos algo al respecto.
¿Qué hacemos?
What's he saying?
He said the only way we're gonna get off of here is if we do something ourselves.
Pepe comes up with an audacious plan to get them back to the mainland.
Si no tiene agua, pues la podemos sacar con la cubeta. Si a Larry le podemos dar la cubeta, unos remos, se puede buscar para...
He says we can bail it out. Get it on the sea. Maybe we can use it.
Is he serious?
He said, we can take this boat across. We can row across.
Larry puede sacar con la cubeta.
Between the three of us, we can get it over there.
With no fuel for the boat's engine, they'll have to row to the mainland. But it's a 20-mile journey across open seas.
It was an unbearable hot day, probably close to 100, but it felt good to be doing something.
Out. Get the rhythm. In. Keep this up, guys. We're gonna make it. In.
We actually thought we could make it.
For 2 punishing hours, the men row in the intense heat, their hands torn by the rough driftwood paddles.
I'm getting exhausted. I am getting to the point where I'm just gonna drop.
As the sun dips towards the horizon, the men's stubborn determination finally pays off.
¿Qué es eso? Mira, ven para allá, barcos. ¡Hay barcos!
Dice,
¡Aquí!
see people on boats. They didn't hear us. They didn't hear us. They didn't look. They didn't do anything.
They can't see us. Joe, keep paddling.
The men push on, hoping to close the distance to the shore. They make progress for another hour. But from nowhere, they're gripped by a powerful undercurrent.
We're going backwards. What? We're going back. What do you mean?
It's a very strong current. It's a really strong current.
Too far away.
Now we couldn't make any headway.
The tide has turned, and it's pulling them backwards.
Come on, Joe, come on!
We're trying frantically to row faster.
Come on, take it.
Come on, come on! Come on! It's not that far! We're not moving.
We are in some deep trouble.
As night falls, the men give in to their exhaustion. But as they sleep, they're being dragged back ever closer towards the rocky shores of the island.
Joe, Barry, despierten. Nos vamos contra la roca.
Joe! Joe, wake up! It rocks! Stop paddling, buddy! Come on now! Come on!
The current was going to take us wherever it wanted. We're going to crash, and we're going to crash hard.
Joe and Pepe make it safely to shore. But Lorenzo is thrown violently onto the rocks, severely spraining both of his ankles. The three men's attempt to escape the island has failed, and their boat is now completely wrecked.
We didn't talk much that night. Lorenzo and I were pretty down in the dumps. We were depressed.
400 miles away, in California, Joe's wife receives a phone call.
That was when I learned that they were missing. I just was gone. I can't even describe it. It was like, you know, my feet were kicked out from me.
Joe and Lorenzo wake up, knowing they are completely stranded on the barren, uninhabited island.
There was nothing there, nothing that could give you shade. There was just nothing.
Their only hope now is to be found by a search party. But they are in no physical condition for a prolonged wait.
I was somewhat overweight, and I had found out about a year earlier that I was diabetic.
Joe suffers from type 2 diabetes, a condition where the normal levels of sugar in the blood can decrease rapidly. It's commonplace, but potentially life-threatening if not managed properly. And 50-year-old Lorenzo is unfit and grossly overweight.
Lorenzo may have had health issues. I pressed him on it, but he said no, that he didn't. But then at the same time, he told me that he hadn't been to a doctor for years.
As they face a third night out in the open, Pepe again insists that help is not coming.
Nadie va a venir por nosotros.
He just kept saying that the only way that we're getting out of here is if we get ourselves out of here.
Estamos solos.
Says they ain't coming.
And as the night wears on, Joe and Lorenzo finally accept they are now totally on their own.
I felt that the world had abandoned us. It was very slow progress. Sometimes we wouldn't go more than a mile or two in a day. Around 1 or 2, we would start looking for a place where we could spend the night.
It's an excruciating routine, made even harder by the fact that their scavenged water supply is running out.
Those castaway bottles kept us alive. But as the days went on, we were finding less and less water.
Water!
We found maybe 6 ounces a day, maybe, that we would have to split 3 ways.
Salt.
When their precious few drops of water finally run out, they know they won't survive in this heat for much longer. Their hike north is now a race against time.
I never really thought survival was as difficult as it is.
After a week stumbling through the water, Joe has deep cuts in his legs. They're becoming infected, and blood poisoning is now a real threat. If it sets in, it could kill him within hours.
This could be a lost cause. I could die here. And I told him, look, I'm gonna write a letter to my wife and my kids in case something happens to me. I love you all. Don't blame anybody of what happened to me. I put myself in the situation and I died here, but it's just something that happened.
Joe asks Lorenzo if he too wants to write a message to his loved ones.
Hey, Larry. No. I don't want to do that right now.
And he said, no, I don't want to do that. Not yet. I don't want to be doing this. Maybe he didn't want to really face a situation we're in or what the outcome might be.
Ravenously hungry, the 3 men are desperate for anything to eat. Joe resorts to pulling tiny sea snails from the rocks.
Pepe.
I gave one to Lorenzo. I go, here, eat it. And he looked at it and said, I'm not going to eat that. I knew that he had to have something, but at the same time, I can't force it down his throat. He'd have to eat it because he wanted to.
When the sun is gone, the temperature plummets. So far, they've kept warm with driftwood fires. But now, disaster strikes.
Verga.
What happened?
It broke.
The lyre it just fell apart in his hands. The salt water had just eaten it.
From now on, the men have only each other to keep warm. With death closing in, the men are unaware their families have been searching for them. But they've joined the rescue teams that believe the men are fishing on the east side of the island. After 6 days searching, Joe's son calls home with devastating news.
He says, I can't find him. He's not there, Mom. I don't know if we'll ever find him. And he was heartbroken.
After 8 days missing, the search is finally abandoned. The men are feared lost at sea.
I had given up hope. The reality of it was he was dead and wasn't coming back.
The men struggle on northwards. But still, there's no sign of any fishing boats. Lorenzo is becoming increasingly depressed and irrational.
Stop. We gotta go back. I lost my glasses. We gotta go back. I want my glasses. Things are gonna be okay.
He just totally panicked. He lost it.
They're my glasses. I need my glasses. You got me. I need my glasses. I need my glasses.
I'm trying to convince him, okay, look, now I'll be your eyes. But there's no consoling him. For him, it was the end of the world.
What?
Lorenzo was starting to lose touch with reality.
Joe. Let's switch.
Lorenzo asked me if he could be on back of the raft. He wanted to trade places with me.
I want to go behind for a while. Okay?
Delirious with dehydration, Joe takes up his friend's offer of a ride, without realizing how desperate Lorenzo's condition has become.
I heard a gurgling noise behind me.
Larry!
And I turned around, and his head is underwater. I told Pepe, he's in trouble. We must get him out of the water.
Ayúdame, Joe. Joe, ayúdame. Joe, agárrale los brazos.
Larry!
Agárrale los brazos.
Larry! Get him up! Larry!
Larry, está bien.
I'm talking to him, and there's no response.
Larry!
Larry.
The look on his face it wasn't right.
Larry!
I start checking for a pulse. I checked his neck, his wrist. It was just nothing.
After 12 days, battling to stay alive, Lorenzo has finally succumbed.
I told Pepe he's dead. He passed away. He just died, and I couldn't do anything. That's probably the worst moment of my life. At first, I was angry that he abandoned me. We should be seeing this through the end. But then I realized it was a big ordeal for him. And his body just gave out.
Joe decides to leave his best friend's body on the beach, in full view of the ocean and any passing boat.
I want him found. I want his body found, even if it's just skeleton. I want him to be found, be taken home.
I'm gonna come back for you.
I said my goodbyes to him, and I told him that I have to leave. It broke my heart.
Joe and Pepe struggle to keep moving north, barely clinging to life with every step.
We were living moment by moment. It was no longer, can I do the 10 more feet? It was right now, can I take another step?
Battling his diabetes, it's a miracle that Joe has survived 13 days without food or proper water. But now he fears the end is near, and he faces an agonizing, anonymous death.
If I die, nobody is ever gonna find my bones. I was at rock bottom.
Joe, es un barco.
Pepe turns around and yells at me, "Did you see that boat?" He was very excited. I didn't think there was a boat. I thought he was hallucinating. All of a sudden, I'm alone.
Joe and Pepe are finally saved by 2 Mexican fishermen.
It was exhilarating to see this boat. Thank God this is over. I was relieved, like a big burden had been lifted off my shoulder.
That afternoon, Joe's wife, Margaret, gets a call from her son.
He says, they found Dad. He walked out this morning. The fishermen picked him up. He's okay. I mean, I was elated, but at the same time, I just knew that there was more wrong. He told me that Lorenzo has passed away. And I says, oh my God.
Seeing my wife, my son, my daughter, all of them, it was great. I just felt bad that Lorenzo wasn't there to share it.
Lorenzo's body was recovered and taken back to his wife and family in the US.
If Lorenzo had gone one more day, he would have been with us. He'd be here now.
Frustrating, but, you know, he was great company.
When they arrive at the foot of the vast ice face that leads to the summit, they get their first sighting of the awesome challenge ahead.
It is a 1,000-meter unbroken face of rock and ice. So it was pretty scary, but also, you know, really got our adrenaline going, I think.
Got a coin?
Yeah.
There you go. Heads or tails?
Heads.
Tails! I'm on it.
And that moment when you're actually on the climb, it's as if all that nervous energy just disappears. It just dissolves into the sheer joy of the climbing itself.
In midwinter, the weather in the Alps can change in an instant. But today, the two men have ideal conditions for their climb.
How's it looking out there?
Great, mate! The ice is absolutely perfect!
Scaling Lake Wat is a 2-day climb. And as dusk falls on the first afternoon, the two friends find a ledge to rest up for the night.
You don't expect great luxury in these circumstances. You don't expect 3-star hotels, but we were pretty happy with that.
Your room will be ready in a sec, Mr. Andrews.
Oh, thank you very much.
You know, being able to get into our sleeping bags, to get lying down, to get hot drink, that was good enough for us.
Good day, huh?
Yeah, not bad.
It will crack it for sure tomorrow.
Yeah.
We were both feeling elated. We were bang on target at that stage. We were exactly halfway, which was what we'd hoped.
As dawn breaks, the two men set off on the final ascent to the summit. A sheer vertical ice face, one of the toughest climbs in the Alps.
There's no ledges on the face where you can take a break. And so it is very tiring on your calves, your calf muscles. Essentially, you're standing on your tippy toes all day. By about lunchtime on that second day, we were feeling pretty confident at that stage. We were feeling that, you know, we were going to reach the top within a few hours.
They make great progress. But 800 feet from the summit, conditions suddenly change.
I don't like the look of those clouds, mate!
It had been perfectly clear the 1 minute. The next minute we looked up and there were these clouds rolling over the summit ridge of the mountain. We realized that this was a pretty serious storm that was coming in. It wasn't long before the snow started falling. It just became phenomenal. It very quickly became very, very heavy indeed.
In just a matter of minutes, the two climbers have been slammed by a vicious Alpine blizzard.
But we weren't too worried at this stage. You don't expect to be able to climb a mountain face like that without encountering some bad weather.
But far from blowing over, the storm rapidly intensifies.
I've never experienced anything like it. It was just piling down onto our backs and rucksacks, you know, literally faster than we could, shake it off. It was just incredible.
Then suddenly, the fresh snow triggers the thing climbers fear most. Mountain avalanches.
You just have to hold onto your ice axes as tightly as possible. Just close your eyes and hope for this avalanche to pass. It was horrendous climbing in those conditions. It was just really, really, really hard.
The two friends are now clinging to the side of the mountain, knowing every step could be their last.
It became a job of survival. There were great periods of time when we couldn't see each other. It was just impossible climbing in such horrendous conditions. So it was pretty tough.
They now face a life or death decision.
Jamie! Woo! This is something, huh? Yeah, but what do we do?
Abandoning their climb would mean descending the 3,000 feet of treacherous ice below them.
To attempt to descend the very difficult and dangerous climbing that we'd done already in those conditions had been, almost suicidal.
No going down in this, mate! Head for the closest pass, near the summit!
Their only option is to keep on climbing through the blizzard.
If we could reach the summit ridge, we would be safe from the avalanches. We could dig ourselves in and then just wait for the storm to pass.
The two friends battle on, but it's desperately slow progress.
By the time it was starting to get dark, suddenly one of the bolts on my right ice axe started to work loose.
Jamie needs both of his axes. They're his only way of scaling the ice face. He has to carry on and pray the axe head won't come off.
We were really reduced to a snail's pace now. The climbing was so much more arduous and fatiguing and, of course, frightening.
In the raging blizzard, and with a broken ice axe, the two Jamies know that what began as an exciting adventure has turned into a potentially deadly climb.
I was beginning to think that we would never reach the top. It just seemed to be going on and on forever. But it was Jamie who suddenly let out this yell.
I'm found somewhere!
And I knew from his tone that this was it. He'd made it. He was at the top. Suddenly, both there we were on the top, on the summit ridge. And that was great. That was fantastic.
At the summit, the two Jamies can finally rest and wait for the storm to subside. But the ridge is just a sliver of ice, 3 feet wide by 5 feet long, with sheer drops of over 1,000 feet on either side.
The place where we arrived was really a knife edge of snow and ice.
Jesus Christ, Jamie, we can't stay here! It'll be fine! It's only for the night! The storm can't keep up!
We were completely exposed to the elements. There was no protection whatsoever from the snow and from the wind and from these massive drops to either side of us. So it was a pretty hair-raising place to have to spend the night.
They get into their bivvies, water and windproof bags used for emergency shelter. It's their only protection from the storm.
We'd eaten most of the food that we'd brought with us. We still had a couple of packets of biscuits and some chocolate bars. That's basically what we had left. Our more immediate concern was water. It was too precarious to light the stove, to melt snow for water.
They'll only survive a short time without water. Their hope is that the storm will pass.
Jamie and I had been on many mountaineering adventures together, but this was looking like being the most frightening to date.
All the two men can do is hunker down, knowing that one careless move will send them 1,000 feet to their deaths.
Now it was just a case of surviving the night and waiting for the storm to pass.
The two climbers are desperately weak from a lack of food and water. In order to survive, Jamie Andrew knows he can't let his friend lose hope.
Neither of us ever mentioned the possibility of not making it. We only talked about positive things.
Jamie, what's the first thing you're gonna do when you get down?
Oh no.
I'm gonna have a nice hot bath and a boat. I'm gonna have a huge pot of tea with about 20 sugars.
Sod the tea. I'm gonna have a lukewarm beer.
Good man. Good man.
The afternoon wears on. But just as it seems, they will have to spend yet another night in the blizzard.
It's starting to break. Jamie, the weather's starting to break.
I looked out, and there, for the first time in days, we could see the mountain peaks on the other side of the valley. We heard that unmistakable thud, 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 thud. And straight away, they saw us. That was just an incredible moment. We were rescued. We were down in the valley. We were having hot baths and hot meals, and all that went through our heads.
But as the helicopter attempts to hover directly overhead, it's pushed back by fierce mountain winds.
Where are they gone?
We realized what the difficulty was. It couldn't hover anywhere near us because of the massive updrafts that blew up the mountain face.
Time after time, the helicopter is forced back. Finally, the pilot manages to get within yards of the stricken men.
We could literally see his face. It was really being thrown about all over the place like a toy.
Close now, come on!
At any moment, it looked like it might be dashed against the rocks on the ridge either side of where we were trapped.
But at the last moment, the pilot loses his battle with the wind and is forced to abandon the rescue.
I can't describe how gutted we were to be left there on the mountain on our own. It just felt even more lonely being there, having seen other people for the first time in days, and then just be left abandoned to our fate on the mountain again.
Thousands of feet up a mountain, without food, water, or shelter. All hope of rescue is now gone. But the brief drop in the wind allows them to light the stove to melt ice for water.
It was Jamie who suggested it. I thought he was crazy trying to actually get the stove burning on this ledge between us. And that was just unbelievable. Just the first time in 3 days that would have been that any liquid had passed our lips. To have some hot, sweet tea was just incredible. And that probably saved our lives that night.
But the pleasure is short-lived. The end of the gas means no more water, and they are still severely dehydrated.
It was incredible that we'd survived so far, but we did begin to lose that battle for survival.
It's the worst storm in a century, and there is nowhere to escape the bitter 80-mile-an-hour winds.
But this new weather was way more severe, really. Very, very cold. That kind of wind chill, the human body just can't survive for very long at all.
As the night wears on, the temperature plummets to well below freezing.
The sleeping bags had become useless to us. The snow had got into them, made them damp, and then that damp freezes. So effectively, the sleeping bags had frozen. With every hour that passed, our optimism faded. During that night, we did begin to lose that battle for survival.
What hill are we on? What? Where are we?
Jamie was becoming more and more confused. He didn't seem to know where we were anymore.
Jamie Fisher is becoming delirious. Gripped by hypothermia, his organs are starting to shut down, and not enough blood is reaching his brain.
Come on, Jamie. You know where we are, Jamie. Tell me where we are. I don't know. I can't remember. Come on, Jamie. Come on, Jamie. Tell me where we are. Come on.
My only real memories of that day are just of desperation.
During the night, Jamie Fisher's sleeping bag has come loose. Knowing his friend needs every ounce of warmth, Jamie Andrew tries to zip it back up.
I just pulled it in, and then I realized suddenly that I couldn't move my fingers. In an instant, both hands had just frozen, solid.
His hands are frostbitten. His blood and tissue have turned to ice and are irreparably damaged.
And I remember just, in a futile kind of way, just knocking my two hands together and listening to them as they just went thunk, thunk, thunk. My hands were like pieces of frozen meat. As a mountaineer, one of your biggest fears is always going to be frostbite, because if your fingers freeze, you can't do anything for yourself. You're stuffed.
Jamie is completely paralyzed. He watches helplessly as his best friend, in the final stages of hypothermia, begins to lose his mind.
We gotta go. I gotta go. We gotta go. We gotta go.
What are you doing?
We gotta go.
Jamie!
And Jamie really became quite delirious and was just sort of thrashing about all over the place.
Jamie, what are you doing? We gotta go! Jamie! Jamie, stay here!
If it wasn't for the fact that he was tied to the mountain, he probably would have fallen off.
Jesus Christ, you're gonna push us off the edge! Jamie, you're gonna push us off the edge!
I desperately tried to bring him back, to remind him, you know, what mountain we were on, what we were doing there. I soon realized that this, you know, this hypothermia was taking him. And there was nothing I could do to stop it.
After 5 days, battling to stay alive on the mountain, the two climbers are now just hours from death.
There was now no way either of us was getting off this mountain alive.
His hands and feet now solid blocks of ice. Jamie Andrew is helpless to do anything to save his best friend.
Once Jamie's core temperature had dropped, his brain was no longer getting the oxygen it needed. Eventually, that deliriousness gave way to unconsciousness, and ultimately he just stopped moving altogether. And when I saw that taking hold of him, I knew that this really, really was the end. That there was no hope now. And of course, having frozen hands myself, there was nothing I could do. In the end, it was Jamie who went first, and I had to witness that. But mercifully, it didn't take long. He obviously wasn't really aware of what was happening. He wasn't suffering. And I remember sitting there realizing that this was the end. That it was the end for Jamie. It was the end for me too, that there was now no way either of us was getting off this mountain alive. Sometime later, and I have no idea how much later, I opened my eyes again. And the first thing that I saw was rays of sunshine as they lit up all the mountain peaks all around me. Moments later, I heard that helicopter approach. This time I knew that somehow they were going to rescue me. Somehow they were going to get me out of there. I was spinning 1,000 meters above the glacier in space. in what was literally one of the most spectacular and daring rescues in the history of the Alps. I knew that I'd made it. I'd been rescued and I was going to live.
But the rescue had come too late for Jamie Fisher. His body was taken down from the mountain shortly afterwards. Jamie Andrew underwent surgery to save his life. Surgeons amputated his dead, frostbitten limbs, which were poisoning his blood.
They were very dark days indeed, those first few days after the accident. But on the other hand, I knew that this was to be the low point in my life, and now I could get on with the job of putting my life back together again.
For Jamie Andrew, years of reconstructive surgery and rehabilitation followed. But the memories of those 5 days on the ridge are never far away.
I had survived. I was a lucky one. And so I started to make up my mind that I was going to take on this challenge that had been thrown in front of me, and I was just going to treat it like the next big mountain that I had to climb. And so that's really what I've done, just taking it one step at a time. I have rebuilt my life